Welcome to See You on the Internet, a podcast exploring life, love, and the pursuit of happiness in the age of the internet. We're your hosts.
I'm Kate.
And I'm Nicole.
Let's get into it.
Okay, you're wearing your new little pieces today, huh?
I am. I love this little necklace.
It is really cute.
It's so cute.
The little fish guy is adorable.
No, I know. And he has an eye. He has an eyeball,
him.
which I love. I love it.
And
my favorite store. She never disappoints.
Your thrifted shirt, too. Your thrifted sweater.
My thrifted sweater. I know. I'm really kind of rocking with the Brewster Mass combo meal today.
You're looking fabulous.
Thrift store. Everyone check them out. Palomar, my favorite store.
Maybe they can sponsor us.
Shouts out. Oh my god, if I ever got that would actually be so dangerous. If we got sponsored by Palomar, I would only literally ever be wearing their clothes and jewelry. Like, you'd never see me in anything else.
No, it wouldn't be dangerous. It would be great for you.
True. But like, I probably wouldn't get it for free. I would have to pay for it. So again, dangerous.
True.
Danger zone.
Anyway, excited to chat with you today. I know we took last week off, birthday week, a lot of things going on.
A lot going on.
What did you end up doing for your birthday, your real birthday?
My real birthday was so lovely.
At this point, we've been talking about your birthday for like the last 3 weeks, I think.
No, I know. Literally, it's actually always my birthday. The entirety of Gemini season is my birthday.
100%.
My birthday was great, though. I woke up kind of late-ish. Nick took care of morning dog duty, which was nice. So I got to sleep a little bit. And then homie and I went to Nitro Bar, obviously, naturally.
Obviously.
Had to go. Had to get my caramelized banana latte.
Of course.
What's a birthday without a caramelized banana latte from Nitro Bar? A birthday I don't want to know. That's for sure.
Not a good one, I'll tell you what. Oh, a birthday that I have known and not one that I want to experience again.
I'd never want to go back there again. So then we went over and we went on a really long walk on this kind of like scenic road in Providence that has, it's like a 2-lane road, but in the middle is like this like walking path that is kind of hilly and has we've drove by that.
Yeah, you drove me by there.
Yeah, on our way to breakfast that one time. Yeah, I love it. And I've never actually gone walking there before. It's like a really big like running path, bike path and stuff. So homie and I went and took his first like real walk.
Big boy walk.
Yeah, it was so cute. And he had so much fun. It was like the first time he's really like been like smiling, panting, like tongue out, which I was like, man, you're having so much fun. Me too. And then after that, went and picked up a sandwich from my favorite like Italian deli and went over to the park where the water is and brought a beach chair. And homie and I sat there and I ate my sandwich and read my book, which was so nice. And then got home and went out to dinner with Nick and a couple friends at this like waterside restaurant and got to sit out by the water. So it was just like so nice. It was very relaxed, very chill, but like so much fun.
I love it. What a perfect birthday.
That kind of day that I needed to have. So, and after a weekend with all my best friends, all my favorite people, it was just like cherry on top.
Just the final nail in the coffin, but in a good way.
In a good way. Non-derogatory.
Well, I'm glad you had fun. I was thinking of you, sending you good vibes for your birthday, so I hope you felt them.
I got them. They were received.
Thank God.
I got them, for sure.
Thank God. Well, yeah, so sorry to everyone listening. We had to take last week off. Booked and busy. We were tired. I was off to Vegas. Back in Vegas for the weekend. Who would have thought?
Not as exhausted. Not as exhausted as you have been previously, correct?
Correct. But it's still, here's the thing. When we go to Vegas for F1, there are things that we do that keep us energized. And when I went this weekend, I was so jet lagged. I was so tired.
Got it.
I think that like I was sharing a room with my mom. She snores. Love her, but big snorer. So, like, even though
Mhm.
I was going to bed at, like, 12:30 every night, I was up at 5, like, my body was naturally awake,
Mhm.
because and then I hadn't gotten that good of sleep anyway because my mom was snoring. I love her, but
As we said
we
again, Nicole does love her mom.
yeah,
Love her
in
mom.
case you didn't get that the first 3 times, you do love my mom, but I just there was something about this trip that it was just, like, because I think also because it wasn't so go, 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 and every single hour of my day was, like, scheduled that my body had
Right.
more time to, like, be tired. So, like, I'm exhausted today,
Mm.
but it was so fun, and, like, with F1 weekend, we're here, there, we're everywhere. We're all along the strip.
Everywhere.
We're outside. This trip, I only left the Wynn for 2 hours to go to a show, and that was it, and then I was back in the Wynn. I didn't go outside except to go to the pool, like, I stayed in a 1,000-foot radius of
Okay, but kind of iconic. That's kind of great. Sometimes I mean, I'd love the only outside time I ever have to be just at a pool.
it was and it was chef's kiss. I had the most amazing massage of my entire life. I'll
I'm literally
never
so jealous of it.
I'll
I'm so jealous.
Like, I'll never be able to experience that level again. Shout out to the Wind Spa, like, they know what they're doing. But again, such a funny story because we were there with my aunt and her friend Tim. And so Tim was flying in from London and we were like, okay, we checked in, we all got there. My mom, myself, and Bettina all got there earlier. And so we were like, we'll wait for a room. They were going to put us on a smoking floor. And we're like, we don't want that. We want to be closer to our friends, like our loved ones, like we don't want that. So they're like, okay, like if you wait, like we'll let you know when it's ready. So we're like, yeah, no problem. So then we wait like a couple hours, we get dinner, we go to the buffet, which is worth the hype, by the way. And then we like go and check in and they're still going to put us on the sixth floor smoking floor. And we were like, no, the whole point was that we waited so that we didn't have to be on the smoking floor. What's going on? It's been like
Right.
6 hours. And then the manager comes out and she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, what is a free upgrade to one of the executive suites like acceptable, like no extra charge? And we're like, yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. So the weekend started on a very
Meanwhile, your room was already comped.
the room was
The
calm, like
rooms were
again,
already comped.
everything's calm. So I'm living this luxurious lifestyle for the weekend where it's just like charge it to the room, it's gonna be free. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll have another $27 cocktail. Why the fuck not?
Why the fuck not? Honestly,
So
if that's the kind of lifestyle, that would actually probably be really dangerous for us if we got to live that during the F1 weekend in Vegas. Like, that would actually be scary. Hold
you don't
on.
even
We
want to
have a
know.
special guest. We've got a guest. Oh, he's
There's
gonna
a
be
little
crazy. What are you
man.
doing? We just got tired. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Hi.
love you both. Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Fans.
Hi, fans.
Who's that little boy?
Who's this
Hi,
long boy?
homie. He's getting so
Who's that?
big.
Who's that? Is that Nicole? Is that Auntie Nicole? He is getting so big. I'm
He's
like, he's huge. Everyone's like, girl,
yeah, but they
be
don't
for
know how
real.
small he was. You know what I
They don't
mean?
know. Literally. It's the meme.
Anyway,
No one here knows that I used to be 3 pounds.
anyways, Vegas was a blast. I had the best time. I ate so much good food. I lost all of my money, but that's okay. One thing I am really good at though is like the digital blackjack machines at the bar.
Oh,
I was up and up and up and up and up on the blackjack machines. So I was a
okay,
little
go girl.
scared. I was scared to do it at a regular table because the minimums were like $25. And I was like, that's too much for me. Like, I can't afford that. And one hand and like a quarter of my money's gone already. I'm budgeting this weekend. So
Yeah, we're on a
uh
budget.
so it was really nice though. I got back late last night and so I'm sleepy today, but all in all, highly recommend a relaxation trip to Vegas because it's
I've
actually
been
really
needing
fun.
one.
Tim was like, "Oh, don't." He's like, "Do you want to go to like Encore Beach Club? Do you want to go like do young people things?"
No,
And I said, "No,
not even,
no,
not
not
even a
even
little bit,
the
Tim. Thanks,
tiniest
though.
bit. Thank you, though." So
Thanks, though. Thanks, but no thanks.
yeah,
I'll pass.
it was really fun, but definitely a different experience than an F1 weekend. So,
For sure. For sure.
and everyone was like, "Oh, are you going for F1?" And I'm like, "Nope, just going for fun." So,
Shocker. The
yeah.
girls can travel, not for F1.
Not for F1. I know it's really outside of our brand, but
It's so funny.
what else is new? How did you like? I think the main topic of discussion today.
Main topic of discussion, F1 The
Academy.
Academy. The
I'll tell
F1
you.
Academy Netflix docuseries. And I'll tell you what, it got me good. It got me good. I feel as invigorated as I did after watching Drive to Survive season 1.
I mean, it was so good. I have like 20 minutes left of the last episode, so I'm basically done. But it's so well done, and I think again that's why I like
So
the
well
same.
done.
It's the formula they used for Drive to Survive, so we knew we were gonna like it.
It's
But
not from box to box though.
no, I know it's not. But it's
Okay.
basically the same formula. Like
Yeah.
they tell the stories. It's every race weekend. It's the BTS, right?
It's
Um,
so good. I'm literally obsessed with everyone. I'm obsessed.
who's your
Capital
favorite?
O. Capital O obsessed with Abby Pulling's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Capital O obsessed. Love him. Literally obsessed with him. He's so cute and so supportive, and I just love him so much. I will say
I
the
know. I was.
only gripe that I had with this docuseries is I don't understand why they didn't. There's only 16 racers.
Mhm.
Why didn't we get like really introduced to everyone?
I
Like
know.
that, it was kind of a bummer because like there are people that were like included in the show, but you never really like met them. So
Yeah.
like Tina Hausman, Maya Vogue, Lola Lovenfoss, like they were
Mhm.
all kind of like mentioned and popped up, but we never really got any like introduction to them or backstory. And then there was a bunch of girls that just like wouldn't like didn't get anything. And so I don't know if
Mhm.
it's like their team didn't want to do it or they didn't want to do it or what, but that just made me kind of sad because I was like
Yeah.
I loved learning about the all the girls that we did meet in the show, but I wish that there was like a little more on the other people, especially Maya was like up there fighting for the championship. And I feel
I
like we
know.
didn't really see much of her until like the final few episodes.
Yeah.
Which was a bummer.
I know. I mean, and it also is like a bit of a bummer too because obviously they're only allowed to be there for 2 seasons at most, right?
Right.
So it's like most of like almost all of the if not all of the girls who they talk that they created the show around the season will not be in the show ever again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's almost and obviously there that was the case too with early Drive to Survive seasons. Like it's cutthroat, people get dropped all the time, right? But it's also like, okay, you've set up these relationships now and like told these stories, and it's like now I have to start over again next season with all new people.
Which here's the thing though, and kind of devil's advocate to that is does that set them up for more prolonged success with this show? Because every season is going to be kind of a new cast of characters or a somewhat new
Mhm.
cast of characters. And so you can kind of start watching any season. Whereas I feel like for you and
Mhm.
I, we are like, oh, if you're gonna start watching Drive to Survive, like you got to start at season 1 because you meet people there that like you don't necessarily get like a full introduction to in the later seasons, and you have to see like the storylines and like where they were then and where they are now. Whereas now it'll be kind of like fresh every season for them. So I don't know. I feel like maybe that could work in their favor, but along those lines, again, that makes me wish that they gave everyone a little bit more time in the spotlight since it may be their last time being there.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying, but it's also like some of that consistency builds brand and it builds the connection with those drivers. And so it's
Mhm.
like, who's to say? I don't know. But either way, I think it's a really well done show. I was sad about Abby's dad, where she was like, it's too expensive. Like, I can't bring him to all of the
I
races. And I was like,
know.
they can't bring their parents to the races? What the fuck is
Because they have
this?
to pay for themselves to go. Okay, well, I thought it was actually crazy. Abby was talking. She's like, "Yeah, it's I have to really be like kind of budget conscious when I do these things, and like I'm trying to race for the championship this year because otherwise, like I might not be able to afford to continue racing.
Mhm.
Like this is like my last chance. Like I don't come from money like some other people. Immediately cut to the Qubaisi sisters. Is that it?
I don't remember.
I think I'm like Amna and Hamna
Hamda,
Al-Kubaisi.
yeah.
Immediate cut to the Al-Kubaisi sisters that are like strutting down their like mansion hallways and like driving their like Porsches. I was like, okay, crazy segue here just to like almost like immediately show the disparity. But
I mean, it's
by
the
the way,
same with
the two of them
F1.
obsessed.
Yeah.
The two of them I loved. Their
I know.
little
Remember
sistership.
when maybe we can circle back and try and get them on the podcast again.
Yeah, I love them.
They were great. I think it's so funny though because it's like it's the same in F1 too, right? Where it's like you think about the F1 drivers like Esteban's parents sold their house and traveled around in an RV because they like
Right.
wanted to support his dream. And then on the other hand, you have like um Carlos, whose dad's been in like basically been in the sport, not in F1, but like in rally and in motorsport, and they're very well off and have all of the
Yeah.
resources to support their
Yeah.
children through. And it's really interesting to see how these different stories play out. And again, I
Yeah.
love that aspect of these types of shows because I want to
Mhm.
see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like I want to know
Yeah.
where you came from. I want to know the struggle. I want to know like who to root for based on kind of like a little bit more detail.
Totally. I just felt like I just loved everyone that we met and everyone that they highlighted in the show. I loved Lia Block's story. Like I've known
Yeah.
about her and I know her story, but like to just see the way that she's kind of carving her own path, really. And like I mean, obviously I was crying every single
Hmm.
time they talked about her dad. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm crying.
Yeah.
It was just like it's so cool to see someone who grew up in the industry, I guess, kind of, and was really successful in a different series, coming
Hmm.
in to doing this and really trying to make a name for herself in something that, she is the daughter of a famous rally car driver. And she did that. She did rally for a while, and now she's trying open wheel single
Hmm.
seater. And like it's really cool to watch that. I also loved Chloe
Mind you,
Chambers.
also her dad's basically dying wish for her to get into open wheel. So
Literally, like, okay,
so the pressure is on for her.
rip my
But
heart out
it
and
was also
stomp on
so
it.
it was really fun to see her confidence grow throughout the episodes, like from the
Yes.
beginning. Like I really felt like for a lot of them, it was very much like they started pretty, like unsure of themselves in front of these cameras and this type of personality that they need to portray. And especially like for Leah, like her first season, right? And she's like, I've never done this before. But then by the end of the season, they're like, nope, I feel super confident about where I'm at.
Yeah.
And seeing them blossom like in front of the cameras because we interviewed Leah last year before
Mhm.
her first season, right? And I would love to talk to her now again and be like, okay, like what did you learn? What was your first season like? Would you change any of the answers to the questions we asked you? Just because it feels like she's a completely different person from the beginning to
Totally.
the end of the show.
Totally. It was, I mean, you could even hear it in the radios that they showed. Like at first kept going like, I keep messing up so bad,
Hmm.
or I just messed up so bad. I keep doing this. I made such a big mistake on the radio. And by the end, she's finishing technically kind of in the race P3.
Hmm.
Obviously didn't actually get P3, but
Yeah.
like just doing so well. And it was really fun, yeah, to watch that confidence grow and to watch her like really grow into this new series. Similar story, but I love Chloe Chambers, love
Hmm.
her family. And she was like, I have two siblings, we're all adopted. Like it was just like such there's such unique stories and such unique
Hmm.
people on this show that it's so much fun to watch and see all the different ways that these girls got to this same place.
Well, it's like, what's her name? Who's the girl who kind of looks like Jojo Siwa?
Tina Hausman.
Yes, where she was talking at Leah's birthday, where she's like, "Oh, like I go in person at school." So she
Okay, I was like, that's why she's not
she
in the show that much. She's
yeah,
not really here. She's
she's
going to
at school.
school.
She
That was
waits
incredible.
Yeah, she
I
flies home
cannot
every
believe she did
Sunday
that.
and has to be in class. Like, that's crazy.
It really just puts into perspective like how old these girls are.
I
Like
know. She's like, "I don't
insane. Like
wanna
I'm like,
be
Leah's
18, I
birthday was
can
her
pick."
18th birthday. She's like, can you get me a mojito? A virgin mojito. I was like, I'm losing it.
I
I'm
know,
losing it. I'm
I
obsessed
know.
with them.
I know, it really puts it into perspective. Because, like, I mean, obviously, when you compare it to F1, like, a lot of the drivers
Oh,
come
buddy.
in when you
Sorry.
put it into perspective, like, with F1, like, a lot of the drivers are still young. Like, obviously, Max came in 17, 16, 17, right? But, like, when they reach it's mostly, like, they're in their 20s, like, 20 years old, maybe
Yeah.
19. So when you think about these, like, 15, 16-year-old girls, like, I'm kind of a hater, but there was sometimes I was like, "Why are you always crying?" And, like, obviously crying is fine, but I'm also, like, crying on the radio so much. But then I remember I'm like, they're only, like, 16 years old, so and they don't know how to really handle their emotions in a stressful situation yet, so I get it. They're not adults. And
They're not at all.
I know that makes me sound evil, but I'm just like, "Guys, come on. Come on. You're professional athletes, like, we don't have to cry so much." You know what I mean?
Okay, well, let's see how you would do in that situation. You wouldn't
Well,
cry.
I'm not putting myself in that situation. I don't wanna be a professional race car
Okay,
driver.
well, speaking
I
of
know I
someone that did a decent amount of crying on the show,
What?
what did you think about
Bianca?
Bianca's story on here? Because I have a lot of mixed feelings
Same.
of Bianca's journey on the show.
I know, and I don't know how to really be like, I don't know how to put my words into, like what's the word that I'm thinking of? Like, the way that it was is I'm like, is she I saw in the DM someone was like, she was given a bit of a villain arc, but I don't think that it was a villain arc because it didn't make her to be like the bad guy. Like, the cuts that she was given, is she just a bad driver? Like, I'm like, it doesn't seem like she can do anything right.
I mean, I think she had a really tough season.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it is editing. So like did they
Right.
just pick the different times that she spun? I'm sure other people were spinning a lot, like spun out on the track and like were they just kind of compiling, all of the times that she did that? I mean, I don't think she would have gotten where she is if she
Right.
wasn't a talented driver.
Right.
And especially, continuing on into GB3 after and getting a drive, like there is potential there. But I think her edit was really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't
It
know if it
made
was a
her
villain arc that they painted her or like a villain edit, but I mean, I don't really think they did her a lot of favors. They didn't
no.
make her like a sympathetic person.
Here's what
Like
I'll
she was
say.
like, I'm really struggling, but like I don't know. They didn't make her a very sympathetic person, and like I actually kind of feel bad about that.
I feel bad about it. It didn't feel like she had supportive people in her corner like some of the
Her
other girls did.
performance coach, I was like,
Warren?
does this man hate her?
No,
And she's like, he's
literally.
the only ally I have. He's my best ally. I'm like, this man has not almost said
No.
one supportive thing to you.
He has
He's out
none of
here
your best
talking shit
interests
behind
in
your back
mind.
to Susie.
Literally. So that's why I was like, it doesn't feel like she's in a supportive environment. Now, is that McLaren's fault? Like, what are they not providing her with, like, a sense of safety for her to perform at a level that she like could perform
Yeah.
at, because she's so stressed about fucking it up that like it's causing her so much mental anxiety and like stress that she can't possibly perform at the level that they expect her to. Like, I expect that more out of like Red Bull. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, that's like a
No, for
Red Bull
sure. Well,
mentality.
I mean, please. Where did we see Danny's mental decline?
McLaren.
Where did we see Danny's mental decline?
So true. You're so right. You're so right. So you know what? The writing was on the wall.
Once
Um,
again, fuck you, Zach Brown. Hey,
yeah, it's just
anyways,
it's also feels like the cut that they gave Bianca was that she was more interested in like being an influencer than
totally.
her
Like,
career.
yeah, like Warren kept being like, "Oh, she's not focusing because she's like doing."
They're
you
like, "Oh,
know,
I know she has to do, like, the, like, sponsorship stuff, but, like, she needs to be focused." And I'm like, "You're not saying that, like, you wouldn't be saying that about the guys who are, like, having to perform
100%.
their
No, 100%.
sponsorship duties." You wouldn't be like, "Oh, they're distracted." And so it's just, like, I think Warren is the real villain here. At
Yeah.
the end of the
And
day, it's
at
Warren.
the end of
And
the day,
we
if anyone got a
also
villain edit, Warren got a villain edit. I hope that's not how he actually is.
also felt like Susie got a villain edit as well.
In a weird way, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I would say that it was a villain edit. I think that they portrayed her as the managing director of a racing series and being like, these are the expectations. Like, I can't
I
have
guess,
someone,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, are we thinking like similarly, like in a weird way, are we thinking that that seems like a villain edit because she's a woman? If like Toto had done something similar and
No,
had said
Toto
like,
has done the same thing, and I'm like, "Why are you being such an asshole?" Like,
yeah, I guess.
it just didn't feel like there was, like, one supportive thing that they edited Susie saying the whole season. Like, it just didn't feel like she was just kind of explaining the business side of things, and, like, I get
I don't
it,
know,
but it
when she was
also
talking about like Dorian Pond, she was like, I think she could, challenge Abby. She's relentless, she's talented, she's
okay,
fast. She's
fine.
like she was talking about that when she was talking about Abby. I don't know, and like she was talking about Hamda at that one point,
Mhm.
and she's like, this girl is a star. Like but of course, that edit came on, like that was put in not to like give Hamda her flowers, but to
Right,
put it in comparison to Amna not doing well. Like, which
right.
I think there was like here's the thing. I don't know if there is a ton of like drama
Mhm.
necessarily in F1 Academy,
So
or if they
they really
really
had to
had to
create
kind of
it,
create it and
yeah.
like make these edits of like, oh, Amna's not doing well, so let's put in a cut of Susie
Mhm,
talking to their dad about Hamda and then,
mhm.
cut that in there to make it look,
Right,
worse. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah, and I guess we'll never know, but
Yeah.
there was just some things where I'm just like, part of these edits just, like, make me feel where it just feels different when it's, like, young women versus
Yeah.
men in their 20s. You know what I mean? Like,
For
it
sure.
feels like
For
there was
sure.
a lot of the same commentary, and I know I
Yeah.
was just saying, like, "Oh, crying boohoo," but I'm like, again, they are I have to remember that they're literal teenagers. Their
Yeah.
prefrontal cortexes have not developed, and they basically have had to fight tooth and nail to get to where they
And they
are.
were putting their lives on the line in one of the most adrenaline filled
Right.
things. So, like, God forbid their emotions get a
Yeah.
little out of control. But
Yeah.
also, I will say that the one thing that I agree with you in the Susie edit, I was like, if they include the clip of her one more time saying, if you can't cut it in F1 Academy, there's not much of a motorsports career for you out there. Like, you don't have a future in motorsports. Like,
That felt crazy to say.
that felt
That
really
felt
crazy to say, like,
yeah.
okay, how about this? If you can't cut it in F1 Academy, there's not a direct path to F1. Maybe
Right.
that's more accurate. But, like,
Right.
to say there's not a future in motorsport is just wrong. Like,
Yeah,
the
no, that didn't
2
feel right.
Alcabazi sisters are now racing in a different series together
Mhm.
as teammates. Like, they're doing that. Like, there are for sure other places that they can go. F1
Right.
Academy is not the only series for women
Right.
and
Yeah,
not the only way for them to go up. And it's not like, here's the thing, F1 is not the only like pinnacle of a motorsport series. Like that is
mhm.
not the only thing that matters. Like it's not like, oh, if you don't make it to F1, like you're not a successful race car driver.
Right.
That's not true at all. IndyCar drivers are successful. NASCAR
Mhm.
drivers are successful. Rallycross drivers are successful. Like because F1 is considered the pinnacle of motorsport. Yeah, that's called branding,
Yeah,
dude.
exactly. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they are better like Max Verstappen is not a better driver than the world champion rallycross driver
Mhm.
because they're totally different.
Right, it's
One is
apples and
not better
oranges.
than the other.
Right.
So that was the one part that I was like, okay, stop putting this quote out there because that's also like this whole series and this docu-series is meant to be like inspiring young girls to like
Young girls.
enter motorsports.
Yeah.
And like it inspire people to get involved and see a future in this field, in this sport. So don't say if you can't cut it here, you're going nowhere.
Right.
That's just it's just not true. And so
Yeah.
that was the thing that kind of did bother me.
Right. There was another scene with Bianca where it was one of the races and she was wearing her glasses. That just felt
Yes,
that felt crazy to me
I was like
that she was wearing
I was waiting
glasses
for
while
her to take them
driving.
off.
I
And
was
then
like,
she put
"What?"
her visor down over them. I was like, "What?"
I was like, "That feels unsafe. Like, what if you get into an accident?"
Literally.
What if something happens? Like, I know that that lens is there to protect your eyes, but like, what if? What if it like hits the side and then it like breaks the thing and then it goes in
Shattered.
your
Yeah.
eyes?
No, that was crazy.
That
That
was
was
like the
crazy.
craziest
I
thing
was
to me.
like,
I was like,
I'm unsure what's going
but
on that.
also the fact that they weren't like reading, like they weren't small glasses. They were like big round lenses too. So I was like, how are you even is that helpful?
Like, what is going on? No, that was nuts. Yeah. I was watching, just waiting for her to take them off, and then she just didn't. She just
Yeah.
didn't. She just kept them on. I was like, all right, go girl. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, overall I really loved it. I mean, I'll be watching. I hope they make a next season. Like I think
Yeah.
that these types of shows are just fun regardless. And again, similar to how Drive to Survive, there was only 16 of them. Not all of them got highlighted. So you really got to go deep with the ones that they did cover. So hopefully in the next season that they make, like it's a little bit more. And again, I'm seeing the parallels from season 1 of Drive to Survive, right? And like who they covered and
Yeah.
what they mentioned. And so I'm hopeful that as the sport continues to gain popularity, knock on wood.
I can see it. I can see I'm really hopeful that this will give F1 Academy the boost that it deserves, like Drive to Survive did.
Yeah.
Because if people put this show on, we just need people to click on it and start
Mhm.
watching it. Because I think the minute you start watching, you're kind of hooked.
Yeah.
And I think these girls are so easy to get behind and care about that I think that it could really do a lot of good things.
Yeah, I agree.
It was it was really well done. I was just crying the whole time. I'm also about to my period, so maybe that's why, but I was literally tearing up the entire time.
I will say I didn't cry that much.
Oh my god, when Abby won the championship and she's thanking her dad on the TV and he's like in GA watching, I was like, "Oh my god."
I was sad too when she was talking about her grandma who recently passed as well.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. I thought they did a really nice job. I thought it was a really good show, and yeah, I'm
I think
excited
that
for people to really get into it.
season 1 of F1 Academy was done better than season 1 of Drive to Survive.
I
And I
agree.
think that it's probably because they had the context and had that, kind of where it's been. But I think all in all, like if you were to compare the first 2 seasons side by side, not knowing about all of the other seasons, I think F1 Academy is much more well done in the sense that the shots are better, the interviews are better. Like I think that the stories
They
that are
did
being
it. I think they did it really well to have like Susie explaining how a
Mhm.
race weekend works, what
Mhm.
different things mean, how qualifying works. I think that was really helpful. It was almost nice to have kind of one person for the background info and then the drivers. Where I think
Yeah.
Drive to Survive can sometimes get a little confusing because you have all the drivers, all the team principals, journalists, media, like all different people. Like it was nice to kind of have it be pretty simple. Like Susie is going to give you like the background information and then the drivers are going to be
Yeah.
there. And it was kind of like I thought it was structured nicely that way.
Yeah.
I will say if they do this again, my only request would be not my only request, but a request of mine would be tone down the girl boss anthems as the soundtrack.
100%. I was
I
like,
am unbreakable. I was like, oh my god, every single time. I was like, can we just get like some normal songs? It
I
doesn't have to be
know.
all like girl boss
But the way
songs
that it
here.
was too, it was like very much Love Island level, like kind of music. I was like, I feel like it's a commercial break for Love Island right now. Like this is hyper
All
pop,
of the
girl boss
songs were like
anthems.
hyper specific about that exact scenario that they were in, like the lyrics. I was like, what? is
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah, please find some better royalty-free music next season, please.
Just yeah. It
My
was
also request is that
interesting.
they should put people's names more.
I
Like,
agree.
I missed who Abby was living with. Like, she was like, "Oh, and now I live with this ginger girl." And and so I was just like, "Who is that?" And then for like 6 more or like 5 more episodes, her name didn't come up again. And I was like, "Who is this? Is this her sister? Is this her mom? Like, who?" Oh, no, it turns out it's her trainer. I had no idea for so long who that was. So I'm like, my request is that maybe let's put people's names a little bit more. And also with Warren, I was like, is that the team principal? Like, who is this man?
Yeah,
So a little bit more graphic usage, I think,
I agree with that.
would be
I agree
good.
with that. Any other thoughts on F1, the Academy?
My final thought is that can you imagine if they made all of the F1 drivers go out to celebrate one of the one of their birthdays?
No, literally.
Like, can you imagine if they were like, okay, boys, and now
It's
in this
Esteban's
scene,
birthday.
okay, someone go pick up his cake. Someone go get the party decorations. Let's do face masks before. And like
Oh my god.
obviously
Who's
it's
gonna jump in
fine.
the pool?
But like I'm just like, can you imagine if they like tried to produce that into a show into the Drive to Survive series? Like it would never fly.
It would be the end of season dinner.
Yeah.
They would just have to get content from that.
Yeah. But they kind of do that willingly. I'm not sure if all of the girls were like, yeah, this is what I want to do. They were just like, well, we have to go. You know what I'm saying? Like
Well, because
Abby's up
not
there
all of
being
them
like,
were there, so
yeah, Abby's like, was it my scene? Not really. But she's technically the main character of F1 Academy, so she had to go.
literally so funny.
I'm like, yeah,
I
imagine
did
this
love
being
when the Qubaisi sisters were like, "Welcome to our hood. Have you ever ridden a camel?" I was like, "Okay, perfect."
they were really cute, and I really appreciated that they were like, I cannot remember which one was which, but they were like, because again, I was watching this while I was doing work today. I had it on the background, so I was like not really paying attention all that much. But I think it was Hamda who started first. Yes,
No, Amna.
Amna. Okay, Amna started
Hamda's
first.
older. She started first.
Yeah.
She had the really tough season. Hamda's younger. She got in the crash, where she had a really bad injury, but she ended up having a really good season.
Yes. When she was talking about how she's like, well, I got into it because she got into it. And I know she hated it at the beginning, but now it's really great that we get to race together. And I was like, classic sister moment,
Literally
classic
classic.
sister antics, where you're like, can I just have my one thing? Can I have my
Literally.
own thing? But then it turns out to be okay.
And they're still teammates today. Like, I just think, oh, it's so cute. I
It
loved
was
them.
special.
Their dynamic was really sweet. Like, you can just tell that they really, really do care about each other. Like, obviously they're sisters, but I think they're like, they just care about each other so much. Even when Amna was not having a great
Mm-hmm.
results and was kind of down about it, she was like, I'm not, venting to Hamna because it
Mm-hmm.
really affects her and she doesn't do well when I rant at her and like
Mm-hmm.
talk to her about like how upset I am. So I'm kind of keeping it to myself so that because I really want her to have a good race and to have a good result and like have a good experience. And I was like, that's just like sisterhood.
Sisterhood. I
Loved
know.
it.
It was cute. I loved
Oh, I
it.
could go on and on and on and on and on.
We can wax poetic about this.
Also, I'm obsessed with Dorian Palm. She's so funny.
Yeah, she was a
She's
character.
so funny. The pocket rocket. I was dying. She's
Also
so
loved
cute.
the Lewis cameo where he was like,
Obviously.
yeah, I got to throw my weight behind this for sure.
Love
And they
him.
were like, oh, how is Lewis? And he's like, well, he's not a robot, so he's great. She's like, thanks, Dorian.
So funny.
I have a question for you.
Tell me, ask me.
What is your like what are some of your favorite movies to watch on airplanes? Do you usually watch like the same movie over and over again?
Here's the thing, I'm not a big airplane movie watcher.
Hmm.
I prefer to read a book.
Okay.
I prefer to read a book usually. Sometimes I'll go for a TV show
Mm.
because then in my brain I can be like, okay, if I'm watching, like, because they go a little faster, and so it makes the plane ride go faster. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well, I'm watching a TV show. They're 30-minute episodes, so I can watch 4 episodes. Then I'm going to be there,
Mhm.
or something like that. But if I am going to watch a movie, I will either watch something new that I was like, oh, I wanted to see that, but I didn't really want to go to the movie theater,
You're like,
and
"I'll wait till it's on an airplane."
yeah, exactly. Or if I'm with, usually if I'm on a plane with Nick, he'll make me watch something with him.
Mm.
He'll be like, "We're watching us at the same time," and I'm like, "Okay."
Okay, fine. Well, as
Sometimes
you were
though, I will also watch whatever the person in front of me is watching,
no,
but
that's
just over
always
their shoulders.
through the
Yeah,
crack
I'm
of
like, I don't really want to commit to having something on my TV, but like, I'm looking at what you're watching.
I'm like, "You better put something good on." Well,
I like
famously,
to
if you
try to play
remember
the game of like, what are they watching? Do I know this? Can I figure out what they're watching?
famously, if you remember from one of our early episodes from one of our segments, OMG Me Too, you know that I famously watch movies
Don't
without
put headphones in.
sound. So again, I that's why I am someone when I was flying to Vegas, I had 3 forms of engagement going on. I had Shrek on the TV, I was playing Zelda, and I was listening to my music. Okay? So ADHD levels at an all-time high.
All-time high.
But on the way home, I was just like, also side note, my flight was so turbulent. I was like actually like I was feeling
Were
nauseous.
you
Like I
writing
was
your will
really
again?
sick. No, I was not writing my will, but I was like so nauseous that I was
Yeah.
like, I might have to use the puke bag. Like I've never felt that way on an airplane before. Like I was like so motion sick.
Oh my
Um
god.
yeah, it was awful. For like the first 90 minutes of my flight, I was like, I'm gonna die, by
Oh
the
my
way.
god.
Um
Horrible. Horrible experience.
so I was listening to my music and I put on Bend It Like Beckham, obviously a classic film.
Classic.
So watch that without sound. And
Classic.
then my all-time favorite plane movie is Crazy Rich Asians. I always watch Crazy Rich Asians on the airplane. Like I just love it.
That is a
It,
good airplane movie.
there's just something about it. It's so fun. It's like it makes the time fly by because it's so fast. It's like fast paced. There are things happening. Like I know
Yeah.
what's going on. And again, at the end, I'm still crying. I'm crying at the end of the movie. I'm crying when he does his big declaration of love. And
Mhm.
I'm like sitting on the airplane. I'm like, I can't. Why am
See,
I
this is
crying?
another reason I don't watch movies on the airplane a lot, because I'm a huge movie crier. So, like, and I don't need to be sobbing next to a stranger.
One time I watched this documentary. I think it was called Bully. I can't remember what it was, but it
Okay.
was about like followed this one kid who definitely had like learning disabilities or whatever, and he was just like being bullied relentlessly. I was full body sobbing on on an airplane, and like since then I've been like I actually can't watch anything that's going to like be emotionally destroying to me because I like was like like
That's
literally
me with
gasping.
literally like any movie.
And I said, actually, thanks but no thanks. I'm gonna stick to movies that I watch, and this is why I don't really watch with sound anymore because if I don't hear it that like if I'm just like watching the subtitles, it doesn't get to me as much.
Yeah, totally. So, on my way to our honeymoon,
Mhm.
Nick first made me watch The Wild Robot, which, have you seen it yet?
No, because I'm scared.
Nicole, you have to watch. It's so good,
Children's movies
but
make me so
holy
emotional.
fucking shit.
They make me
That movie ruined me.
they
I
make
was
me question my existence on this planet.
I was convulsing. I was retching sobs. Like I was crying so hard. I was like, "What did you do to me? Why did you make me do this?" And he hadn't seen it either. So we were both like watching for the first time, just crying next to each other on the way to our honeymoon. And then after that, he was like, "Okay, now." He had watched this on the other plane. He's like, "Now we have to watch My Old Ass." And I was like, "I heard this movie's sad." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's funny."
It is
And I'm like,
funny.
"Okay." And so we watch it again, full body. sobs,
I was
just
crying.
absolutely
I was crying
wrecking my
so
body.
deeply at the end of that movie.
Oh my god. The hug?
Yeah.
The hug and walk away?
Yeah.
I literally no. Nope. I
Nope.
was like, "Fuck you." I'm looking at him and I'm like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you for making me
Actually
do this."
actually, I'm filing for divorce. This is a
Like,
divorce moon, by the way.
yeah. I was like, on this public flight,
2
and
movies in a row.
it was, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. Great movies, but, like, I was I was like, and then I'm in public, so you have to kinda hold it in a
Mhm.
little bit, and I'm not able to really, like, audibly be like, so then the tears are just coming harder because the emotions gotta come out some way, and
Yeah.
I'm just, like, a mess, an absolute mess. The flight attendant's coming by to give snacks, and I'm like, "Literally not now. Please
You know what?
don't
I will
proceed
say,
me."
though, there is something really cathartic about crying on an airplane. I'm always crying on an airplane, even when I'm not watching movies, if I'm being honest.
I cried on the airplane the entire way home from Vegas at, like, F1 Vegas this past year, simply listening to the Wicked soundtrack that had dropped that day.
It's just like it's kind of like you're having an out of body experience while in an airplane. At least for me, this is how I am. Like
Mhm.
there's something so beautiful about being 30,000 feet in the air and seeing the world below you and contemplating every good, bad, ugly thing that's happened to you in your life while listening to some of the most devastating music that you have saved to your phone. For me, it's pretty regularly listening to Ethel Cain and just really, really getting into my feels. I'm like, wow, life is so beautiful. Similar to the text you sent me yesterday, life is so beautiful. It's crazy that we are in these machines 30,000 feet in the air and we can travel all around the world. And like, how lucky are we? Magic does exist. What are we talking about? Look at how small people down there have their little lives. I'm up here and we're all just going about trying our best. And it just gets me every single time.
Every time.
I think about all of my like regrets in life. I'm thinking about like all the things I could have done differently. Where would I be if I had just done that one thing? I don't know. This is an OMG Me Too segment, turns out. Guys, let me know if this is also how you feel when you fly. Because I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm shedding at least 1 to 2 tears every single plane that I get on.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel
So
that deeply.
I don't have a lot to say today, unfortunately, because I'm so
I don't
tired from
either, but
thinking.
I think we've said enough.
I think we've said enough.
I think we've
Well,
said enough.
we'll be
Sometimes
back.
short and sweet.
We'll be back next week with a it's because we don't have Alex this week.
I know, she really brings
Wait,
a certain je ne sais quoi to
she
this.
she brings an energy to the table that it's sort of like a one she's our audience and we have to perform for her.
We're
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
exactly. Live studio audience. Our live
We
studio
have to
audience
make
is
it
here to
we have to make it worth it for her to hop on the recording with us.
exactly.
We got to put on their
Exactly.
little clown faces and make her laugh.
Exactly.
And I'm just really excited because Love Island starts tonight, which I know you're not watching, but Love Island starts tonight, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna cook a little dinner. I'm gonna get my PJs, and I'm gonna settle in for the first episode of Love Island. So we'll report back next week. But also could be fun. Every podcast episode we do, I just give you a little bit of an update on my dating life.
Yeah, please. You don't tell
So,
me about it anymore, so
well,
I
it's not so much that I don't tell you. It's just that it's like little interactions that I'm having like on dating apps. Like it's not really
okay.
like things,
But I would
but
actually still love you to text me about these because we don't text as often about, like, normal things. Like, it's mostly about scheduling and shit for this brand. Ugh.
um but I was on Bumble the other day, which I'm almost never on Bumble anymore
You're never on Bumble.
Because Bumble is filled with some of the most hottest men I've ever seen in my entire life, and I can't get a single match back. And when I do, I message them and they don't reply to me. So I'm just like, what's actually the point of being here? It's like being in a hot guy museum. You can look, you can't touch. And so I'm just like, actually, this
Yeah.
isn't fun for me. Anyway, so I'm on Bumble and I come across this man and I audibly gasp because it's a man that I went out on a date with in Boston.
No.
Yes, and it's a man. I don't know if you remember
When?
this. 2021. I got my bob. It was like around the time when I cut all of my hair off after the pandemic. I know exactly what outfit I was wearing. I was wearing a white like lace kind of like cute little top and my black jeans with my knee-high snakeskin boots, and I had like my curled little bob. Anyway, I went on a date with this man. He was in a band, and I specifically remember we got coffee,
Not
drinks,
another
I don't
band.
remember,
Not
at
another band.
in the North End,
Okay.
and I vividly remember being like,
Where the fuck was
I
I?
I don't know where you were. You were around, I think.
Well, why didn't you come over
Anyway,
after?
I was
Maybe you did.
like, maybe I did. I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of worried that I'm not gonna like your band. I told him this because he was in like kind of like an Irish like.
I do remember
You
this.
remember that man? And he
Yes.
was like going on tour in Europe, and like he was in like a Boston Irish, sort of like similar to the Dropkick Murphys. Like that's the
Yes.
type of band that he was in, and I was just like, I actually like don't think that I'm gonna like your band. Like I'm not like I can't lie, like I don't think I'm gonna like it, and I don't want to have to pretend that I like it. I mean, I didn't say that I don't want to pretend, but I was like, I fear that like I just like am genuinely not gonna like your band. And anyway, obviously nothing ever happened from that. But he
He was
lives
like,
in
I'm looking
Brooklyn
for a
now.
supportive woman.
He lives in Brooklyn now, and he came over my Bumble, and I was like, no. So I swiped right just to see if he would also swipe right, so he could be like, do you remember me? But now he's not in the band anymore, and he's just like a videographer, like film guy. So I'm like, well,
Okay,
maybe
maybe
I'll
you crushed his
maybe
spirit. Maybe he went to his next practice and he was like, oh shit, I don't like my band.
well, good. So I'm like, hey, maybe it'll work out again. But I was just like, this is too funny. So that's why
The
I was
world
just
is
like,
too small sometimes.
I was just like, okay. And another man was responded to one of my like, he sent me a message, and he was like, I'm laughing at discount that photo of a discount Danny Rick in your profile. And I said, discount Danny Rick? I said, that is Danny Rick, bitch. And I was like, hey,
Screaming, fake fan.
hey, chill out. Please don't come for my man like that.
Discount Danny Rick. Brutal.
And he was like, well, how are you acting so chill? It's the photo where I'm like nonchalantly texting while he's walking by me. Obviously, I look very cool. Um,
Obviously.
and I was like, I'm working, bitch. I'm working. I had a job to be doing. It can be fangirling.
It can't
Anyway,
be.
that's my weekly update. That's my weekly dating
Great.
update.
Do you have anything on the books for
No,
this week that we can
no.
check back in on next week?
No, I simply don't have time. I'm like,
Nothing new with the night.
no, he ghosted me after that. I
Okay.
still haven't heard from him. It's so unfortunate because people are like, oh, do you want to grab a drink? And I'm like, I'm free the week of the 13th. How about that? Are you around June 14th, 15th? And they're like, what? It's 3 weeks from now. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. And then turns out
I am
I'm only
busy.
I only have exactly 2 days open between now and the end of June. So you better get in now. I was texting a man and I told him, I said, I'm free June 4th. I have some time open June 4th. So if you'd like to slot in, let me know. We're texting, okay? Actually, on the way up to your birthday. He doesn't respond to that. Just leaves me hanging. And so I was like, okay, fuck me, I guess. So no, I don't have anything planned because men can't do anything. So
Men can't handle making a plan on a specific day and time.
no.
And that's just it.
So no. Although that man that I said who ghosted me, where I was talking about how he was a dry texter, do you remember that?
Yes.
And then he didn't reply, or like I didn't reply to his like, oh, sounds fun. He texted me last night, just hey. And I said, nope. Actually, not responding to this. Bye. Lose my
No,
number.
get a fucking personality, then come back to me if you
Get a
want to.
grip. How about that? How
Jesus.
about that?
The bar is
So
really kind of on the ground.
it's literally in hell and they still can't reach it. So And again, Love Island is starting. It's every single night. So I'm like, at the end of the day, like, I have plans. So you have to really come with a plan that's going to make me want to miss Love Island. So,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you what, that's going to bring me more joy than going out to drinks with Joe Schmo.
100%. Yeah. Feel that.
So, you know, it is what it is.
Well, there you have it.
That's what you missed on Glee.
Amazing.
And that's what you get for this episode of See You on the Internet.
We'll be back next week with a new episode. So, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to See You on the Internet.
To keep up with the fun between episodes, make sure to follow us at See You on the Internet Pod on both Instagram and TikTok.
And to join in on the fun on the podcast itself, call the Kate Nicole Hotline at 646-780-9063 or email us at hi@seeyouontheinternetpod.com.
We'll be back with a new episode soon, but in the meantime, we'll see you on the internet.